Hi, I'm Jairus. I am an artist exploring the unseen through creativity. I started this channel to share my process and document my journey as I build a life centered around creativity. If that resonates with you, give me a follow and welcome. I made this new piece of art recently called Eros. Eros is the Greek god of love and desire and intimacy, and I had the idea to make this as a birthday gift for a friend of mine, and this friend introduced me to the idea of ethical eroticism, which is a concept Audre Lorde talked about. And this comes from an essay that Audre Lorde wrote called Uses of the Erotic. The erotic as power. Her use of the word erotic is much broader and different from how it's normally used in our culture. For her, the erotic is not primarily sexual. She describes it as a deep, embodied knowledge of joy, aliveness, and truth that lives inside of us. She writes about the erotic as a well of feeling and intuition. This is a place where creativity, love, pleasure, and purpose come from. For her, examples of erotic experiences include things like creating art that feels alive, deep emotional connection with another person, moments of spiritual insight, feeling fully present in your body, experiencing beauty in nature, love, intimacy, and sensuality. In other words, Eros is the energy of aliveness. She believed that oppressive systems like patriarchy, racism, capitalism distrust the erotic because it makes people harder to control. And when people are deeply connected to their inner joy and truth, they become less willing to accept the lives that feel empty or unjust. Society tends to reduce the erotic to pornography, shame bodily pleasure, disconnect people from their feelings, and encourage numbness or productivity over aliveness. So when we reconnect to the erotic, we gain a moral compass grounded in feeling and care. The erotic teaches us what feels life-giving, what feels false, what relationships nourish us, and what work is meaningful. So in this way, the erotic becomes a guide for how to live ethically. Ethical erotic power involves honoring pleasure and joy, respecting others, humanity, creating relationships based on mutual recognition, and refusing that numbness and exploitation. It is an embodied ethics. The big takeaway for me specifically is how she links the erotic very strongly to creative work. The erotic is what makes art alive. It's what makes art honest, moving, and spiritually resonant. And without it, art can become mechanical or empty. And for me, art is magic. Creativity is something almost mystical or alchemical. For Lorde, the erotic is exactly that, a creative life force that moves through us. The erotic ends up sounding very similar to ideas that are found in mysticism and contemplative traditions. She describes it as this deep internal knowing, a source of power, something felt in the body, something that connects us to truth and creativity. And a common thread is the idea that there is a living current inside human experience that is much deeper than thought. Lorde simply names that current the erotic. Not sexual necessarily, but alive. Sexuality is just one expression of the erotic. And erotic energy can show up as artistic creation, love and intimacy, spiritual experience, laughter, grief, inspiration, and a connection with nature. Patriarchal culture collapses the erotic into sexuality, and then it shames that sexuality. the result being that people become disconnected from their deepest source of vitality. Erotic experiences include mutual recognition, emotional presence, vulnerability, and this sense of shared humanity. When you are connected to that depth of feeling, it becomes very difficult to treat people as objects. The erotic becomes ethical because it recognizes the humanity of everyone that is involved. Audre Lorde believed the erotic is the source of creative power. When someone creates from the erotic, the work carries energy and people tend to feel that. The erotic is basically the engine of authentic creativity. This is why she also believed poetry and art could change the world, because they connect or reconnect people with feeling. Your deepest feelings are not a liability, they are a source of knowledge and transformation. The erotic is the life force of being human. Today, when people hear erotic, they usually think sexual desire, but in ancient Greece, Eros meant something much bigger. Eros was understood as the force that pulls things together, the desire that moves the soul toward beauty, and the energy that creates life and creativity. Eros has been described as one of the first forces in the universe, helping bring order out of chaos. So Eros was not just romantic attraction, it was the creative force of existence itself. One of my favorite artists, Hilma af Klint, believed her paintings were guided by spiritual forces moving through her. She spoke about receiving images rather than inventing them. That sense of something moving through you and something alive in the work is very close to what Audre Lorde means. The erotic is the energy behind that feeling of creative transmission. The opposite of Eros isn't hate, it's numbness. Eros is the energy of feeling deeply, caring, creating, and connecting, which is probably why art, love, spirituality often feel strongly connected. They are all expressions of the same current of life. Artists function as translators of Eros, which means they turn that invisible life force into images, symbols, and forms that other people can feel. To me, that's a form of magic and alchemy. The artist becomes a medium of transformation. Someone may not understand why a piece of art moves them, but they feel it. The feeling is what some might call Eros, passing through the artwork. Eros is the current of aliveness, moving through reality. Artists are the people who notice it and then give it shape, color, rhythm, or story so that others can feel it too. That's why art feels like magic. It takes something invisible and makes it real enough to share. Thank you for watching this video and listening to me explore my ideas and inspirations for this particular art piece. If you resonate with this video and want to see more, give me a subscribe down below, leave a comment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.